Oh, hooray. Sorry about that. I seem to have some problem getting Facebook Live to run this afternoon, but excuse me while I put my fingers on the phone. I think we are sorted. Well, it tells me we're live, so let's see how we get on. So, welcome to our Gemini Crafts live session. It's Monday the 8th of April. And hi to you, Scylla. And I'm going to have a run through of our coffee and card designs that we finished today. The theme of our session was horsepower, and that could mean either horses or motorbikes or cars, as in horsepower needed to run those. So I do like to give a little bit of a theme to my coffee and card just to make them a bit more interesting. Hi Scylla, I hope you're keeping well and out of this rather dismal weather that we have here today. It's certainly very dull here in Brackley. I hope it's a bit brighter for you. So let me show you what we were making. So we used a combination really of 3 stamp sets. So this is the first one, called Geared Up Garage, and this one is in the Spring Summer catalogue, which runs through to the beginning of June, and it features this car image. That's the main one that we were using, but it also has the toolbox, the oil can, petrol can, some dirt or exhaust fumes, whichever you want it to be. Bit in the news today, that is. The little washers, nuts here, and then "You're a Classic" as a sentiment, "You Jumpstart My Heart," "All Geared Up to Celebrate," "Best Dad," and "Happy Father's Day." So this set does have matching framelets, but for coffee and card we don't tend to use the Big Shot or anything because I want it to be just straightforward stamping. So in the main we used this car, and some of us used "You're a Classic," the sentiment to go with it. So that was one of the sets that they were able to choose from. We also had One Wild Ride, which is the one with this fabulous motorbike image, and this is quite a vintage looking motorbike. Sorry, there's a phone message coming through for me. So this is a vintage looking motorbike, and it has tyre tracks, it has "Congratulations" and "Born to Ride," and some other sentiments here like "Hope Today's One Wild Ride," or "Birthday Wishes to the Leader of the Pack." That was something that we used. And then it's got this just mud, whatever you want that to be, "Route 66," and then "Life's a Journey, Enjoy the Ride." So quite a nice mix of sentiments. Obviously "Born to Ride" and "Congratulations" as well. And then the third set that they're able to choose from was "Let It Ride," which is the new horse stamp set that came out in the Spring Summer catalogue. And obviously it's got the head of the horse here, it's got a full horse here, 2 horses in the distance, some trees, and some nice sentiments that go obviously with, particularly for riding. So "Let It Ride," "Take Life by the Reins," "Go For It," and "For You." So I bought this stamp set because many of you may know that my daughter is a mad horse rider. She's studying equine science at university, has her own horse, and she does all things related to her horse. So I had to get that one to make cards for her, if nothing else. But in fact it has proved really popular. So let me show you what we were making. So we've got 2 sessions really. So these ones are just straightforward stamping. So these are really good images just to stamp and either colour in, or in the case of the motorbike, just stamp as is. So this one I've done in Blueberry Bushel, and backed that with the same colour of card. Not sure, that's not quite. It's trying to really focus on that, isn't it? Perhaps if I bring it up. Oh, I don't know. I'll leave it down there. So there's that one there. This one is the car, which I've stamped in Memento black ink and then just coloured in with our blends pens, and that's coloured in with the light blue. Just trying to think of the colour and it's just gone out of my head. Bashful blue. No. It'll come back to me in a minute. Somebody will tell me, I'm sure. So this one is done in Cherry Cobbler, and I've added It's Sure to Be a Fun Day from the birthday set. And on the horse one here, I stamped this one in Early Espresso, and then just did a little bit of colouring in with the blends pens with crumb cake mainly, and left some patches there of white. This one here I've done obviously with the car, and then I've used the yellow, that's Daffodil Delight, backing and pen. And you can see how quick and easy they are to do, that's why I've got so many. There's the motorbike again in Blueberry Bushel, that's the darker blue. And then this one here is the one that we're going to go on to, which is the one that I've done with the Stamparatus. And I've made it look, hopefully, like this is got some movement to it, so it's going fast, and it's you know, just showing that little bit of action going back there. So to show you the other ones in that series, let's move that out of the way. So here is the horse one, and you can see the horse image going out there. And then here's the one with a motorbike. Now, not everybody liked this because they thought it was quite dark and dull. I quite like that sort of vintage look. Here's one with the car. And another one with the horse. And the sentiment there is live as if someone left the gate open. And then finally another one with the motorbike. And again, this is Blueberry Bushel. Balmy blue. I just remembered the colour of the light blue. Bashful blue was a colour we had years ago. So I got there. Balmy blue. So I'm just going to show you first of all how we just did straightforward stamping, and then I'm going to show you how I did the movement on the card. So here we go. So I'm just going to start with a piece of card. So this is designed to fit our note cards and envelopes. So this particular size is 3 inches by 4.5. The layer that goes behind is 3 1/4 by 4 3/4, and the note card it fits on is 3 1/2 by 5. So I'm just stepping it down each time. So very straightforward stamping in terms of filling this stamp in. So I'm going to do one in Blueberry Bushel. I'm just going to do the motorbike. So I'm going to ink that up. So make sure you're moving it around, okay, just in case there's a missing sort of section on your ink pad, especially mind if they've been used in a particular place. Or if you prefer, turn it over, leave the block on the table and then ink it up that way. So I'm just going to stamp that. I'm going to have him fairly low down so I can put a sentiment up. So nice pressure, nice even pressure. There's the motorbike. It's a really nice image. I do like the way that one comes out. I'm going to add the sentiment, which is the leader of the pack one. Hi Pat, nice to see you. This doesn't look very straight on my block, so I'm just going to straighten that slightly. So again, light tapping. I'm just going to try this out on my piece of paper to make sure. Yep, birthday wishes to the leader of the pack. So that one I'm just going to pop in there, like so. And then we can mount that onto a piece of backing card and then onto our note card. So I won't do that in detail now, but basically that will fit on our layer and that will go onto our note card and envelope. I'll just show you that. So there's our standard note card and envelope. You can see the score line nice and easily, and we're just going to pop that onto there, so it gets a really nice effect. And in that stamp set with the tires, the tire track is quite nice to do on the inside, so you could put that across the bottom or across the corner, and also on the envelope. That would be quite effective to do that. So that is our straightforward stamping. Hi to you, Maureen. So just stamping the image, stamping a sentiment, layering it up. Straightforward. What I want to show you now is how we do the same thing but with the movement behind it. So for that we're going to use the Stamparatus. That is the best way to do it. You can do this manually without the Stamparatus, but I found it easier with, because you don't have to worry about keeping it in a straight line as well as the height. So we have a choice. I've got the motorbike and the horse cut out here. So we'll do the bike first and then we'll do the horse, just so you can see. So the trick really is to make sure that your card is butted up against the top, so that you're just going to slide this card up and down. The Stamparatus does the work in terms of the stamping, but you're going to do the moving. Because if you wanted to use the Stamparatus with its hinge technique, the gap really between each space is too large for this particular design. I prefer it to be smaller. You could obviously try that yourself. So I'm just going to take the motorbike. I'm just going to wipe that off on my pad. Let's get most of that off out of the way. And the secret is, and I apologise, I haven't got my labels on. If the front of the motorbike, if I just use this mask here, is on the right hand side, you want to start the image further over to the right so that the fadeaway can go to the left. And obviously if something was facing the left, you want it further over there so that the fadeaway goes to the right. I hope that makes some sense. So all I'm going to do, just move my horse down here for the minute, is I'm going to take my motorbike stamp, make sure it's facing the right way, and I'm going to have it over here on the right hand side, like so. I'm going to pick up the stamp, okay, and I apologise I haven't put my label on that one yet. Okay, I'm going to pop the magnet on. I might need to move that in a minute. Actually might put it up there to start with. And what I've done is position this right hand end, I don't know if you can see, along one of these lines. Now this is where you really need the grid paper on the Stamparatus, because the layers underneath are wider blocks, if you can see that. So these are centimetre blocks, whereas these are in 1/4 of an inch. So obviously a 1/4 of an inch is much smaller than a single centimetre block. So I found you really need the paper. You can buy the paper as a pad that fits your Stamparatus. It has two sides to it, like our normal grid paper, but it is designed to fit on here. So you have inches on one side and centimetres on the other. And then we're just going to ink up the stamp. I might change colours. I'm going to try Bermuda Bay. So all we're going to do, and if you can see that, is ink up our stamp. Hopefully that's just about in view. Okay, so ink up our motorbike. Make sure the magnet is on, and then do our first image. So this is going to be the most bold of the images, this one here. And then we're going to apply a mask over that, because I don't want too much of that to be repeated. So all I did for that was stamp onto a piece of post-it note. Just show you here. So I have some post-it notes. I just stamped the motorbike on here and made sure that the sticky part of the post-it note, or the note, was underneath where the image was. So I'm just going to cover that up, And now what I'm going to do is manually move my piece of card one block along, like so. And I'm not going to re-ink because I want a lighter effect. Oops, sorry if that's moving around a little bit. Okay, so you can just see the background of that. Leaving everything in place, just moving the card one block along. And as I say, I'm using the inch markers here. And again, not re-inking because I want it to look lighter each time. And then I'm going to do one more. So this is good to have this pushed right against the top, and you don't have to worry then about it being in a straight line because you know that it's going to be against the top of the Stamparatus. Okay, and if you wanted to, you could even do one more. So it depends on the colour of ink that you started with. Hi Jill. There we go. So now when I remove the mask from the motorbike, from the May one, nice to see you Jill. So here we can see our main image, and you can see where it's got lighter to give the effect of it moving across the page. Okay, so onto that one we can obviously add our sentiment exactly as we did before, which I'll just do, and then I'll show you a similar one with the horse. So I'm just going to use the same sentiment. Happy birthday to the leader of the pack. And just make sure I've got it working the right way. So I'm just going to pop that in there. Obviously I could have used any of the other sentiments as well. And then that is going to go onto a backing layer. So I've already got my Bermuda Bay ready. So this is all in keeping. Oh, hi Lynn. Lovely to see you here. Thanks for joining us. So I'm just going to use some snail on the back of that. Snail holds really well, especially if you're just doing card on card and not at any angle, 3D or anything else like that. So I'm going to pop that on there. So there you can see how we've got that movement going across, and this is then going to go onto one of our standard note cards. So that's going to pop onto there. So I'll just use the snail again for that purpose. I use a lot of note cards and envelopes, especially for coffee and card, because I don't know how many people are going to turn up at any one time. So that allows me just to put another pack of note cards in, and I'm good to go. So there we go. That's that one there. If I've got a bone folder, I'll just tidy that top piece. Sorry, I shouldn't really be working on the Stamparatus, but there we go. So there's our card with our movement going across here. So now I'd like to show you the same thing with the horse. Just put that to one side. I'm going to take my motorbike mask off and grab a piece of the same size card. This horse obviously is going in that direction. You could have it going along there if you wanted it much longer and maybe lose the bit at the bottom. Okay, but I'm just going to have it this way this time round. So again, I'm just going to start with this on one edge. I'll take this one off here. Take my motorbike one off. And again, what you want to do is position your image to the right hand side so that the fade away is going to the left in this case. And obviously if it was facing to the left, you would have it the other way around. Otherwise you don't have enough space. So this is quite tight anyway. I think I might bring this down a little bit so my sentiment is at the other side. So I'm just going to bring this over to the right. Okay, like so. Fold my Stamparatus down. Okay, and I've got my magnet there. I'm not too worried about that because I'm going to re-ink my stamp and cover it all up. Yes, it's quite effective, Cilla, so you can do it without the Stamparatus, but it's even easier with it. So I'm going to ink up my horse. The light's not very good here today, but I'm hoping it's not too much in shadow, knowing that I can re-stamp that anyway if I need to. So I'm going to put my horse down there. Okay, it's a lovely crisp image, and I do like this pencil drawing. It's just really effective. I really like that style. So what we're going to do again is cover up the horse. Otherwise our next stamped image will go through this horse, poor little chap. So I haven't done a massive job. I don't need to cut in between the legs or anything because it's going that side. Theoretically I don't have to cover up the whole thing, but I've just done that to cover up the body of the horse. Not worried about the mane because I quite like that flowing of the mane. Again, don't re-ink it, but move your piece of card over. Now I've been moving this one column along, but obviously you can move it half a column or 2 columns. Okay, just move that magnet out of the way, and then I'm going to move it along again. And I haven't bothered moving this because it's losing a bit of the ink every time, so you could, if you wanted to, move the mask. Okay, and I think I'll get one more in there. So this was early espresso that I started with, and it's amazing how far that goes, which when you want a clean stamp you know exactly how that works. Okay, so now if I peel off the front, okay, there's my horse with the image, hopefully, of it heading towards us. I did think also this would work if you just did like the mane and the tail. So I'm going to take that. I'm just going to show you how I coloured that in. So I'm just going to use our blends pens, and I know this isn't Memento Black, but because I'm only sketching a little bit in, I'm not doing detailed colouring. I really don't think it will matter. So I'm just going to add a little bit of green for the grass, just using that sketched line as much as anything. Obviously I could make that a bit bigger if I wish to. And I've got different shades of crumb cake, so I'm hoping you can see that clearly enough. And I'm just going to start by going over. Now if you know anybody with a horse, the best thing to do if you want to get their markings is find a photo on their Facebook or something. I need to do one of my daughter's horses, which is 3 colours, so I must give that one a go. She won't be watching this, so I'm alright. Can I zoom in? That's a good question. I might just bring this up. How about that? Is that better, Lynn? Okay. Just going to add a little bit of the darker crumb cake. So all I'm doing is just colouring in the first layer. I must play around a bit more with the zoom, see if I can get it to zoom in while I'm doing more detail. Okay, this one's going to have a little bit of a glaze there. I better do the ears. So this is not my best colouring in, but it will serve the purpose. Just going to go over with the lighter one just to blend those edges in a little bit. Hi Liz, lovely to see you. Looking forward to seeing you on stage at the weekend. Seems ages since we caught up. Okay, so just blending those in just a little bit. I'm not doing anything too accurately, as you can see. Okay, make sure I've got 4 legs coloured in. And then I'm just going to add a little bit of black for the hooves. Hooves can be black, grey, multicoloured, sort of creamy white. Depends on the colour of their legs usually. Just fill that last little bit in. So that will do for my purpose. And on this stamp set, so there's my, I can't tell if that's focused or not, hope it is. I'm just going to add the sentiment for you, and I'm just going to use that same early espresso. Just stamp it off there so I can see whether I've got it even roughly straight. Hopefully I will be. Like so. I love this style, I really love this style of writing. Okay, so there is my horse with the movement. I'm just going to mount that onto some crumb cake. Exactly the same way as I did before. I'm going to use snail. Just going to put that down carefully and just press it down just to make sure everything. Thank you, Lynn. Make sure everything is in place. Okay, so you could do this really with anything that you wanted some movement on. So even some of the sports stamps, the bicycle stamps will work really well. The one that's got the person riding on the bike, can't think of the stamp set for the minute, but that would be really effective with this technique as well. And this one is going to go onto a note card. And then I've just got something different to put on the inside. So just adding some snail again. Like so. Add that onto there. So that's my finished front of the card. I'll show you that. No, it's not. It doesn't want to. There we are. It's got it. Finally got it. And then for the inside of this, what I am going to do is add the 2 little horses and or ponies, whatever they might be. So just inking up with early espresso, and I'm just going to put those at the bottom. And this, in fact, was something that one of the ladies did. Chris and Rachel did that this morning at Coffee and Card. So that's got the little horses on the inside. And while that's drying, I'm just going to do the same on the envelope. So I'm going to do one on the back of here. So re-inking it each time. Like so. There we go. So those are the horses on the back of the envelope. Obviously you could put them on the front. I think on this stamp set what they're missing would be a horseshoe and a good luck. That would be a great mixture really for that. But that's the finished front of the card. That is the inside. Could, if you wanted to, obviously colour those in as well. Just watch that the colour doesn't go through to the back of the card though. I will colour these ones in, and then I'll just show you, for those that missed earlier in the Facebook Live, I will just show you the other cards. So literally just colouring that in very roughly. Do the other one in a lighter colour. So for those of you that wonder what I was talking about at the weekend, every 6 months Stampin' Up have a big convention that any demonstrator in the world can go to, and they have local ones and then they have ones around the world. So there's one held locally that the top Stampin' Up staff go to, and that one this month is in New Zealand, and any demonstrator could go. So if you wanted to, if you had family in New Zealand, you could hot foot it across there. Our one is in Telford, and that's on this coming weekend. So there'll be, I don't know, maybe 600-700 of us at Telford, all keen to see what new products are coming out. So that's the envelope. That's finished. There's my card with the inside, and you can see on the back of the envelope where that is going through, which is why I haven't coloured the inside part of that panel. So there we go. So this is using the Stamparatus, moving the paper card along rather than using the Stamparatus hinge technique. And also you can vary this amount. Let me show you the other cards that we made. So here's one that I made earlier in this session, just the motorbike in Bermuda Bay.